Good morning, traders. This is 11:15 a.m. Normally I try to do these around 6 a.m. Or earlier, and fell behind this morning. I thought exercising. So basically, what we have going on here, I got my anchored VWAP walls. So basically, the weekly walls, how they've been building out on the anchored VWAP. So basically, the prior Friday of each week, I put the anchored VWAP, set it up, and I see where our walls are going into the next week. And so basically, what we have done, we have rejected a higher distribution based off of the week of 10.11 and 10.25. It gave me a resistance area there that has rejected this past week. And we're currently in a digestive area between uh, October 4th, the week of October 4th, and November 27th. Okay. Of course, my cats bother me here. Okay. So basically, we're trying to decide whether or not any of the October value is going to be supported as we speak. That's basically what we're coming down to, because that 927 was a critical anchored VWAP wall. That's where we're at right here, right now on ESs, trying to decide whether or not any of the October inventory is has any value, relevant value at this point in time. And I do want to point out the dark pools were just on fire up here the month of October. Huge orders were being placed right here. Um, this typically suggests a topping pattern. Okay, and then I also 3 weeks ago mentioned that uh, we were potentially topping out right when we hit up into this area right here. We came back up, down, came back up. This is the area that I was actually calling out on that day. A potential top in the markets. So heads up on that. And you notice we just could not get any further once we got back into this line represents the August anchored VWAP, August 1st anchored VWAP trend. Okay. And this was our highest trend. And the fact that we made one final attempt back up in here into a potential wave 5 right into there suggests that we were topping out on ESs, which we couldn't push much higher at all. And now we're giving signs of some weakness here in the market. So heads up on that, what I got going on here. It looks like we're starting to stair step down to kick off the new month of November. So be very mindful of this. So uh, the main takeaway that I have right here uh, on the weekly time frame, see, I've got a digestive area on a weekly time frame. The thing is, uh, we do have a week right down here, a 913. I think we're going to finish the pattern at some point next week. We're probably going to come down into the 5700 here on the ESs. So be very mindful. We'll probably at some point hit 5700 next week. So that's our last main support. If we lose 5700, it is wide open all the way down to 5460. So just be very aware that we have one line in the sand on the weekly time frame, and then things could get quite interesting. So uh, that's the bearish take. You never know. We might be heading up. I've got a guy says we're going to go 7,700 on the ESs. So I don't know. Things are quite frothy. Uh, we're not getting the stocks that actually are rallying are the ones that have been discounted heavily into earnings. Tesla and Google were largely discounted into earnings, and of course they got a squeeze to push them up. It's not necessarily buying; it was technically a squeeze to push them up. So be mindful of that. And then these other names not doing, especially Microsoft. Microsoft really took it on the chin, and so be very mindful of that. Yes, I'm trying not to do too much here. I'm trying to keep this video short. NQs, similar situation on the NQs. Excuse me. We are showing a little bit more relative strength here. We didn't come down to the bottom of the anchored VWAP wall, showing a little bit more relative strength, suggesting, initially here that, we are we just got through with the megatech. The big megatech numbers are out, suggesting that they are trying to support megatech more than than the other parts of the market. So that's, we'll see how long that lasts. Typically, right after the megatech sell report, you have a period of downside risk in tech land. Okay, are they just propping it up at the end of the week? I don't know, but right here, right now, it does look like they are trying to support megatech. So we'll see what happens here. Bottom line is, if we start losing 2180, 2180, we start getting below that on the NQs, then we can actually probably initiate the short again. So be very, that's what, 50 points lower now, 55 points lower from where we're currently at. So, we'll see how it all plays out here. Uh, but we are on the bullish side of September's anchored VWAP wall. So that's a good thing. So if we close anything above 2180, then to close out the week, then I would have to still, going into next week, lean to a little bit to the bullish side. So, and the next week is the election. So be very mindful. I think what they're probably going to do, we probably might come down to the 2180 for the close to give us max pain for going into election week. So let's see how that plays out going into the close here. See if we get a little bit more weakness here into the close, as traders are not really wanting to make large bets into election week. We'll see if that plays out or not. Okay. Okay, that's the two main things that I did want to point out this morning. I did a trade on IWM this morning. Um, I don't have that one drawn out the same way. I did a trade just basically bonds were getting a nice rally this morning, and if you looked at ZNs, given the employment numbers were distorted a little bit this morning, but we had a nice little bit in the bonds early on this morning, which is all faded, pretty much all faded already. So that's not good. So they're not really wanting to put a bid in these bonds until they more confident which direction the election is going to go. I could see what's going to happen if uh, the Democrats win. That we're probably going to get a rally in the ZNs, and if Trump wins, this is probably going to continue lower. So that's my pretty much big takeaway going into next week, that the bonds are probably going to be binary based on who wins the election. So heads up on that. Uh, so and under uh, the Democrats, it's probably less inflationary than under Trump, just like everybody else is suggesting here. Ultimately, I was looking for a bounce that would hold, and this is kind of concerning. We have uh, if anybody knows the Strat method, that's an engulfing candle, uh, and so at this range low here, and it's not really giving us a bullish. We would be looking for a bullish continuation candle. That's not what we're getting here. So this is kind of concerning, giving this is this is where you would have thought you would see a bounce, and we're not getting it. So be mindful of that. So one of the reasons I took Bitcoin this morning. Let's see what time frame was that. 15 minutes, or not Bitcoin. IWN this morning. Till Friday around 9:30. So it looked to me like Bitcoin was ready to break higher this morning, and Bitcoin is because MSTR is such a major holding in the IWM. Uh, this is trading in correlation with Bitcoin a lot. Okay, and if you go over to your market watch, visualize down to the Russell, MSTR is a major holding. So I've always tried to, if I'm going to trade IWM, I want to see things going like bonds going in favor of IWM and energy going in favor of IWM. But I also like to see a setup that's going to potentially drive MSTR. So that's why this morning I did take IWM this morning for a scalp. And initially, I tell you, uh, they came in and they crushed that call premium those first opening minutes. I was really getting a little nervous on the idea, but they did manage to push IWM out this morning, and we came back up above resistance, major resistance, which then again it failed a little bit later. But I did have a nice little scalp trade here on uh, the Russell this morning. But that's something you really want to watch if you're trading Russell. Those are the three things, and biotechs. You know, there's biotech component to it as well. But interest rates really going down is fluctuations in interest rates that can really be a driving force for the Russell small cats. So be mindful of that. So basically, if interest rates are going down, then I want to see energy and biotechs have a nice little bid. Okay, that's what I'm looking for in my trades. If interest rates are going up, I want to see financial having a nice little bid. Okay, so because you have all three of those components in the Russell. Okay, so that gives you an idea there. Interest rates alone is not a determining factor for trading the Russell or not. Okay, I did notice that this morning Nvidia had a nice little rally this morning. We had a breakdown of critical support. We came down here. We came up, we tagged it, and that's still acting as a resistance so far today. I don't know how long it'll last, but so far it is doing that. And I've also noticed a lot of the put walls were failing this morning, and we saw early on here, if you're a bull, around 9:30, the rejection of the put wall in Nvidia that should have kept you on the bullish side in the NASDAQ in general. Just seeing that the put wall was being rejected by NVIDIA early on in the session. So heads up on that on your trading and stuff. Another one, Microsoft was really surprising to me this morning. We've gotten um, still really early in the cycle. A lot of times I'll see Microsoft for the third day before it starts trying to push it, find support and push higher. Well, we're already back into the put wall here on Microsoft. They're really wanting to get these puts out of the money. So that's 415 puts. They're trying to put them out of the money in today's session. So heads up on that. We'll see if they can do it or not. So, basically for many, many months now, we've seen the put walls fail. Okay. So they have been consistently been pushed out of money. Here we are going into election. I don't know if they could do that today or not, but it looks like that's what they're trying to do today. Make sure these put walls are worthless, going into next week. And the news came out today that the Dems a lot more early voters for the Dems this morning than actually for Trump, which that's exactly what I thought was going on. I thought it was fake news. They're just last week they were talking about a red sweep, or earlier this week a red sweep out of the Republicans, and I just thought that was all malarkey. Heads up on that. So we held the massive put wall on Apple, just digestion sideways. Uh, Amazon, uh, I think there's a big. You should be really worried they're going to put the 200. There's at the 200. There's a massive call wall. I would be very worried that they're going to push that above 200 for the close today. I'd be very, very worried of that scenario, and they're going to put those all those calls into, and that could actually put an end-of-day gamma squeeze into Amazon. So be very mindful of this. We could very easily the last 2 hours 2 hours or less have a massive gamma squeeze in Amazon. So positive gamma squeeze to the upside. So be very mindful of that. A very risky situation if you're trying to short Amazon in this scenario. Okay. Google. So we have a 170 call wall. They've had plenty of time to already. They're probably going to defend this 170, and all these 170s. Anybody who hasn't closed out those calls, they'll probably get exercised over the weekend. So I would think that Google, it's had plenty of time to process that. And then we have a put wall down here at the 565 just being defended. That's another one. So that these probably will go worthless. This put wall down here, in my opinion. Is there anything else I wanted to talk about? AMD is just a dog. AMD is pretty much a dog here at this point in time. I mean, our put wall's way up here at 150. Our weekly put wall's way at 150. They're deep, deep in the money. Those are, they're getting paid big time on that thing. You're just not going to get much out of that one at all here. Any other things I can mention here? Google, Meta, Netflix. I've not really been following Netflix. I don't have it updated. Microsoft did that. Okay. There you go, guys. Pretty much things I'm looking at right here. So be very careful. You know, like I said, another way of looking at it here, guys. One second here. So we had a monthly put wall at 572. A monthly put wall at 572 they defended this morning. This here is our weekly put wall. It's 575. So we're currently trying to hold above the 575 into the close. But as I showed you on the ESs, we're at an area. There's a decent chance the 575s are going to get exercised. So be very mindful of that. A very decent chance. We'll see what happens here. See how they can, this 927 anchored VWAP wall, how it plays out here. But there's a very good chance that they're going to reject this anchored VWAP wall, and the 575s will be in the money for the close. So that's why you got to be very careful. Go over to the Qs real quick. We have a 490 put wall right here, right now. So we're so used that the call walls, get exercised. The idea that a put wall actually might get exercised for a change, it could very well happen. 490. If we close below 490 here, we could be getting exercised. If you go over the NQs one last time here, we are pushing up above. This is actually looking more bullish. Okay, guys. So this is looking more bullish away from the 927 anchored VWAP wall. So let's see how this plays out here. Okay, but the main driver that the market makers are trying to push, they want prices higher. The market makers are actually wanting prices higher, so those put walls don't get exercised. So be very mindful of that. They've been selling premium at that put wall. They've sold all kinds of premium at the put walls, so they're wanting prices to close above those put walls. And but then the broader market in general, however the big money's want to push money. But like I said, the people who have already committed their money, they're wanting prices higher. It's the new money, they're wanting to screw over the old money. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, that's all I got to say. Like the video if you like it, and please retweet me on Twitter. Appreciate it, and leave some comments below if you like, if on the YouTube channel, please. If you got stuff that you're seeing that I'm not seeing, I would really appreciate it. I really appreciate the feedback and stuff on that. So heads up on that. Thanks.